Now, Japan seems to be fixing its global alliances at a time of growing global instability. The European Union and Japan have reaffirmed their strategic partnership, meeting in Tokyo for the 30th EU-Japan summit. Leaders pledged stronger cooperation in security, trade and climate. There is more on the summit that signals deepening ties between two key democratic allies.
The 30th EU-Japan summit brought together European Commission President, the European Council President, and Japanese Prime Minister, reaffirming what they called their strongest ever partnership. The leaders commended shared values, including democracy, human rights, and the rule of law. They also pledged to uphold a rules-based international order amid rising geopolitical tension.
And indeed, we are facing rising pressure on two main fronts. The first is geoeconomics, with growing trade tensions and uncertainty, fragile supply chains, the challenge of overcapacity and unleveled playing fields. And on the other hand, geopolitics, with rising threats to our shared stability and interests.
Top of the agenda is global security, from Russia's war on Ukraine to instability in the Indo-Pacific and Middle East. Both sides agreed to work closely on foreign policy and defense, also on joint efforts in cybersecurity, space and maritime security. A new step is underway, a formal negotiation on an intelligence sharing pact to boost their defense industry cooperation. On the economy, the EU and Japan launched a competitive alliance aiming to strengthen joint innovation, reduce reliance on critical raw materials, and expand cooperation in semiconductors, green tech, and supply chain resilience. They reaffirmed their commitment to multilateral trade, promising to reform the global economic order through the WTO and G7. Both sides warned against economic coercion and non-market practices. On climate change, the leaders backed the Paris Agreement and called for stronger action at COP30. They also visited the Expo 25, where the EU's pavilion showcased themes of sustainability, digital inclusion, and connectivity. Regionally, they voiced concerns over tensions in the Taiwan Strait and South China Sea. They also condemned North Korea's weapon program and Iran's nuclear ambitions. They pledged continuous support for Ukraine, Moldova, and humanitarian aid in conflict zones, appealing for peace talks and adherence to international law. With global instability on the rise, the EU and Japan say their renewed cooperation will help shape a more secure and prosperous future. Their next steps will focus on defense agreements, economic resilience, and climate commitments.